We're staring directly into a government shutdown within President Trump's first 100 days in office. Why? Because the Democrats are throwing a massive wrench into the GOP's funding plan. This is all tied to Elon Musk, budget cuts, and federal employees who could be left without pay once again. We have the details to unpack. Let's get into it. The U.S. government's funding runs out on March 14th. That's about 8 days from now. Usually Congress would pass a spending bill to keep the lights on, but this time, a little bit different. There's a full-on fight in effect. Republicans right now, they want to pass a stopgap bill. They want a CR, a continuing resolution, to go out 6 months. But the Democrats are saying, no, we're not going to agree to that. We want to have the discussion now. Here's the deal. Trump and Musk have already fired thousands of workers. And Democrats are saying a 6-month continuing resolution is going to give them a blank check to keep swinging that axe. And the axe, it will keep swinging all the way until July 4th of next year, 2026. That's when DOGE dissolves. Representative Rosa DeLauro from Connecticut called it a non-starter. She's like, you're in charge, GOP. You figure it out. She's not going to help Musk turn the federal government into a ghost town. She even says that Musk wants a government shutdown. Why? Because if you close down public services, well, that's a hole that maybe a private company can fill. Maybe we can start privatizing more. We all know Elon Musk does not like a lot of regulations, and people wonder why. Why is he anti-government? You don't have to think about it too hard. Look at his companies. Look at Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink. The companies that Elon has have been investigated multiple times by at least 7 federal agencies. Those investigations have at times cost him money in the millions, in the tens of millions of dollars. You wonder why he doesn't like them. That's one of the reasons. So even though the GOP, they have the trifecta, they have the White House, the Senate, and the House. Even with that, there's a razor-thin majority in the House. It's not big enough. And then we got a couple of Republicans that don't want to play ball. Let's look at Thomas Macy from Kentucky or Tony Gonzalez from Texas. They don't like the CR. They don't like the idea of a continuing resolution. So without some Democrats coming along to help, then this is going to be dead on arrival. The speaker isn't going to be able to get anything passed. Now, the Democrats, they don't want to go along. They're not playing right now. Chuck Schumer hasn't dropped the full game plan just yet, but it's clear that they're here for a fight. He issued a 7-page memo recently calling Trump's plan a power grab. It says that a long CR lets Trump, Musk, and Ross Volt zero out programs and redirect cash however they want. Democrats are really worried that they're going to lose the legal leverage to fight it in court, to be able to stop it in court. Now let's see where the battle lines are being drawn. First up, Democrats. We got Representative Jim McGovern from Massachusetts saying they run around bragging about their big mandate. Well, put on your mandate pants and pass what you want. If you need us, you know where to find us. Bold statement. And then we have California Representative Juan Vargas, who says they want us to help with billionaire giveaways. We rather shut it down. That's the vibe in D.C. Many Democrats, they're willing to let it crash rather than give in. Now, the GOP side, we got Speaker Mike Johnson pushing this clean CR. No big cuts. Let's just keep things running the way that they're running. And he's hoping that Democrats, they fold before March 14th. Now, the Republicans also have the problem with those 2 congressional representatives that are hardline conservatives. And that's what's happening here today. Today, they're going to the White House, and Trump is going to try to flex and put them in their place. Try to get them to toe the line. Will it happen? We don't know. A person asked me the other day, how would a government shutdown affect rifts or affect layoffs or terminations? And it would have some effect. It would slow it down, especially if the agency or that office that's conducting the RIF is deemed non-essential. Well, they would just cease operations and you wouldn't have any progress towards a RIF. Now, during a government shutdown, you'll have essential workers that continue to work. This is usually law enforcement, firefighters, people like that. Then you have non-essential workers they will get furloughed. So they will stop coming into work and they will not receive any money. Now, what happens once the government restarts, these individuals, they receive back pay. They don't have to wait for an action in Congress. They don't have to rely on anybody. It's an automated process at this point. They receive their money back. Now, a lot of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, so a shutdown will impact them in a severely negative way because they have to figure out, how are they going to borrow money? Are they going to put the bills on the credit card? Can they take a loan out from the bank? Do they have to dip into their TSP? But other federal employees, they have a cushion. Let's say they have 2, 3, 4 months of savings. For those individuals, they could potentially welcome the shutdown. There are people in DC right now that are burnt out and they're wondering, is there going to be a shutdown? Because I could use a week off. These are thoughts that people are having. So what happens if it all falls apart? Well, Democrats think they have the upper hand because they're not in charge. They don't have a majority anywhere. Whatever happens and it's negative, they can just point the finger and say, well, that's your fault. It's your fault that this happened. Representative Rosa DeLauro put it bluntly, you're in control, GOP, own it. They're betting that the voters are going to blame a shutdown on President Trump because his party holds both chambers of Congress. Let's go ahead and crunch some numbers. The last shutdown was in 2018. It lasted 35 days and it cost this economy $11 billion. They had about 800,000 federal workers that did get furloughed. Now, all of them received back pay, but right now what's happening in DC is we have Doge coming through just chopping agencies in different pieces and they're just firing a ton of people. And you never know what those cuts are going to impact until months later. So you take an agency and you cut it, let's say you cut it 30, 40%, you have an individual that was doing their task, now they're doing the work of 2 people, and in some situations they're doing the work of 3 people, and you want to hit the pause button and furlough these individuals, well, services will just not get done. The feeling is that the Democrats are okay with a short-term bill, short meaning 30 days. They're willing to do a 30 days so they can discuss this, they have a comprehensive sit down and talk about the details. But outside of that, they're not going to go 6 months. That's what we're looking at right now. They're not willing to compromise on 6 months. And on the Democratic side, they're already canceling travel plans taking place on March 14th. They're canceling them. They're prepaying some of their staff members right now. So it seems like they're preparing for a potential shutdown. And if the presidential congressional address that just happened the other day, if that's any indication, we right now, this country, the United States of America, is more divided than any time within recent memory. Part of the Democrat response was that if Trump's not careful, he could walk us right into a recession. This is largely in response to the tariffs that we've been seeing unfold, meaning that if you impose a tariff on another country, what ends up occurring is the consumer within the United States, that American citizen, they bear the brunt of the cost increase. So if there's a 25% tariff, then whatever product that the American is buying, that costs 25% more. And our buying power is not like it was in 2019, where our dollars went a lot further. The Democrats are also saying that they believe in getting rid of fraud, waste, and abuse, but not in a chaotic way that makes us all a little unsafe. Speaking of waste, we as a country spend hundreds of billions of dollars each and every year on a lot of different services. So we're contracting for defense, we're contracting for logistics, we're contracting for IT, cybersecurity, contracting for a whole bunch of stuff. And now that's under the microscope. We could be cutting tens of billions of dollars and saving some money, but also potentially cutting a lot of the contractor jobs. If you want to know more about that, check this video out next. If you need a federal resume example, check out the links down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.